Do you ever feel like you want more out of life? I have been a dreamer throughout my life. And as a child, I was always using my imagination. I was writing different stories, creating all these different characters. I was painting and drawing. And I just remember having this core feeling that the world is limitless and that we are unlimited beings that can achieve anything we want. Later, coming in contact with societal stereotypes and more limited opinions of certain people, it kind of dulled this perception of life that I had as a child. But even today, deep down in my heart, I very much still subscribe to this worldview that we are the creators of our life experience. So how can you feel limitless, and how can you visualize any life you want? How can you design it, and how can you achieve it? Hey guys, my name is Paulina, if this is your first time meeting me, and I want to help you believe in yourself. And I'm here to remind you that anything is possible. Today, I will be sharing with you my dream album. It's a thick sketchbook that I just populate with everything that I want, with everything that brings me joy, or with pretty much anything that I want to materialize in my life. So today, I will flip through this album with you. But first, I want to tell you a little bit of my backstory and share some beliefs that I have with you that hopefully will reinforce the feeling that anything is truly possible. In my early 20s, I discovered a lot of magical spiritual books that helped me reconnect with that feeling that anything is possible. It helped me bring back this worldview that I was losing touch with. I think at that point, all of these books were almost like a life raft because I was super burnt out from architecture. I was just exhausting myself and I was losing sight of what was important to me in my life. I have some of these books here with me. It is The Secret, The Law of Attraction, Think and Grow Rich, The Alchemist, all of the works written by Vadim Zeland. I have a lot of them, but they're all in Russian. Also, You Are a Badass by Jen Sincero. I'm not going to talk about all these books in detail, even though I recommend all of them and they always uplift me in my moments of doubt. But I do want to share 3 concepts from these books that I very much turn to all the time. The first concept, and it's a thing that I use a lot, is to visualize and write down everything that I want in my life, everything that I'm grateful for, or everything that I think will come to me in the future. I just write it down and I make it very positive. I write a lot of positive statements, and I think that just helps me see where I want to be going. And I also already start feeling grateful for everything that's coming into my life. The second concept that I try to implement in my life is to create a configuration file. This is from Zeland's work, and it's almost like, imagine you are a computer, right? And if you were a computer, you could code this configuration file and your computer would be running according to that file. So in your own configuration file, you write what you want your life to be. And it can be very specific or more vague. For example, you can write something like, everyone I encounter on my way is nice to me. Everyone greets me with love and kindness. A simple statement like that will start shifting your perception, and it will also start changing how you behave and how you present yourself to other people. And trust me, once you write that file, your brain will start noticing all of the things that you wrote down. So that thing alone automatically starts changing your life. The third principle is enjoy everything, need nothing. This is one of my favorite quotes, and this is from the book Conversations with God by Neil Donald Walsh. Also a really, really good book that I highly recommend. But I think this idea really helps us detach from the outcomes and focus on enjoying the process. Because if you are truly enjoying everything, meaning you are enjoying your journey, you're enjoying every single phase, you can even enjoy moments of setback because you can view them positively, right? And if you can enjoy everything without attachment, then you don't need anything, right? You're not like desperately clinging onto anything. And I think this is also a very good idea when you're creating your vision board or when you're visualizing your life, because you don't want to be clinging on to anything. You want to enjoy everything that you have in the present moment today. I'm sure if you're watching this video right now, you have so many great things in your life that you can think about, and that's definitely worth enjoying. In my life, whenever I try to reconnect with this hope and this belief in us being unlimited, I sometimes experience this very intense internal tug of war kind of situation. And this might be the biggest obstacle on your way to your dream life as well. What do I mean by this? I'm talking about all of these external influences starting to clash with this new budding idea of hope and freedom. All of us try to make sense of the world, but certain people love to categorize the world, and they love to be logical and rational and realistic and sometimes negative. Some people feel more in control if they feel like they know what's going to happen, if they can predict the future. This kind of person can tell you that you are being unrealistic or something was not going to happen, or they might even talk you out of your idea. This is a classic example of a naysayer, but there are actually a lot of people out there who act this way and operate from this feeling of lack or this feeling of the world being a very limited place. I definitely disagree with this premise, and I think every single person is unique and everyone's story is very unique. And no one can predict what's going to happen in your life. No one can predict whether you will succeed or fail. No one knows the outcomes. We don't know the future. Everything is constantly unfolding. So that's why you can create whatever you want. But that's also why this tug of war inside of you needs to be addressed, because otherwise it can be the biggest obstacle on our way. You just start feeling doubt in your beliefs. But I think this kind of inconsistency can significantly slow us down on our way to our dream life. That's why I recommend choosing which voice you want to listen to, what serves you and what doesn't serve you, and recognizing what your authentic opinion is. Creating vision boards and visualizing my life and connecting with my voice definitely helped me in the past to move on from things. Before I had my current version of the album that I will get to in a minute, I had this version that I bought from Target on a whim. Back in 2022, I found myself in a dark place because of the political situation. Everything was moving very, very rapidly. Life was changing very rapidly, and a lot of the changes were very negative. So I remember I was in a place that I was like reading news every single day, just consuming all of these negative media articles and crying every single day. It was not a good time. I just felt like I did not have any control over my life at that point. Then after a month and a half of this, I walked into Target. I got this album. I came home and I just started writing things down and creating things that I wanted in my life. Because at that point, I had had enough and I did not want to continue doing it. So I literally started my album with this front page that says, "Let's get back to dreaming." I think visualizing your life the way you want to, it helps you not get brought down by negativity, because ultimately what's the point of being down because of the things you can't even control? I think it's much more powerful to be a light in your own life, and then you can touch lives of other people with your positive energy, with your kindness, with your love, with your happiness. So let's flip through some of the pages of my vision board together, and maybe this will give you an idea of how you can arrange your own visualization board or your own visualization album. I started this sketchbook in 2023, and it's crazy because some of the big things that I really wanted to manifest and bring into my life, they have already happened, and I want to share some of them with you. One of the things I love putting into my dream sketchbook is words of gratitude for the things that I already have in my life. I have a lot of pages dedicated to King and to our relationship because I truly am so grateful for everything that we share. I have a Polaroid camera, and then sometimes I buy disposable cameras, and whenever I take pictures with King, they end up in this journal because I just feel grateful for him so much. I also make gratitude lists sometimes that just help me reconnecting with the idea that I have a glass half full kind of life instead of focusing on the things that I don't have in my life yet, because I don't think that's productive whatsoever. I also write a lot of affirmations, and then I also put a lot of visual references to things that I want to bring into my life. And then you never know how it will happen, but it somehow tends to happen. Another thing I do is I put self-appreciation pages into my album, because for me it's very important to celebrate myself. It's very important for me to remind myself of my own value, of my own worth, and it's important for me to show myself that I love myself unconditionally. Like, I definitely have certain insecurities, and I think reminding myself of how much I love myself is a very, very helpful practice for me. Sometimes I glue in pictures of me that I love, and I write what I think about myself. I put a lot of things in present tense that I want to manifest or that I want to reinforce in my life. Sometimes I also write things that are more specific. For example, I have a page with Aman hotels on it because I truly love their hotels. I love their aesthetic. I love the locations. I love everything. And I write things like Aman is always in my life. And it's interesting how it starts to manifest in real life, because I was hired to work as an architectural designer and as an independent contractor at Aman over 2 years ago. And at this point, I also became a board member for the residential section of Aman. So putting this page together for me started to affect what I attract into my life, how I present myself to the world, and what opportunities I am seeking out. So I encourage you to put specific things that you want in your life as well, or just put anything that excites you in the way that you want to visualize your life. There is no hardcore rules about it. Just whatever picks your fancy, you just like plop it onto the page and you write something about it. Another thing that I manifested in my life was my green card. I glued this into my album as my goal, as something that I wanted to bring into my life. And finally, on April 21st, I wrote, I received my green card. I'm holding it in my hands. It happened. So it just feels so surreal that you glue something that was not there and then finally it got here, you know? And I took so much action, but I also had the dream, I had the vision, and it all came together. I also put my dream engagement ring in my album, and now I have it on my hand, so that also came to fruition. I have some screenshots of my ChatGPT conversations in here too, which is kind of funny. Sometimes I also put different seasons like winter and fall, which are my favorite seasons, into my album, because those are all the things that I want in my life in abundance. And another thing I do is I glue down my accomplishments to remind myself of how far I've come. And this is a visual representation of that. And I'm the kind of person who needs to remind myself of that, because a lot of us tend to discredit our achievements and tend to think that we are not enough no matter what. But that's actually not true. And putting it down in your album helps a lot with this. So these are just some examples of what I do with my album, but all of this definitely helps me realize what kind of life I want to live. And maybe if you start visualizing in the same manner, that can help you too. It's just such a fun way to visualize your life, to fill it with all of the components that you can imagine and create whatever you want, because your life, it is your masterpiece and you make out of it whatever you want. I hope this video was inspirational to you. Please do not listen to naysayers. Form your own authentic opinion and be creative in whatever way you want. You can truly visualize your life and materialize anything you want in your life. I believe in you guys, and thank you so much for being here with me today. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.